Hi, and welcome to the show. You ever heard of earthcam.com? If you don't know what it is, we'll show you in just a minute. But imagine 1,600 miles away, you saw something like this happening. This man raped a young woman, 16, over 600 miles away. And this man saw it and called their police department and told them what happened. What you're about to see could leave you speechless. Take a look.
It's a global phenomenon. From the comfort of your living room, you can watch live streams of Bourbon Street in New Orleans, or the legendary Abbey Road pedestrian crossing in London, or the beach in Rio de Janeiro, and dozens of other famous locations around the world. There's a live stream camera here in Times Square. You can stand right here, call up your mom and dad, tell them to go to the EarthCam website, and there you are, waving hello from the Big Apple, live and in real time. There's also a famous EarthCam in Key West, trained on the monument that marks the southernmost point of the continental U.S. Day or night, the webcam sees all. Now the webcam has even caught a sexual attack as it took place. You can see the suspect dragging his victim behind the monument. A few moments later, she stumbles away. And get this, a guy watching the Key West webcam saw it unfold live. He lives in Boston, 1,600 miles away. He immediately called Key West police.
I'm actually calling from Boston, but bear with me, this is going to sound crazy, but I'm at work and I have the southernmost point cam?
Yeah.
I can almost swear that I saw somebody get raped.
The police report says the long-distance 911 caller happened to be watching the webcam at the time of the incident.
It looked like she was fighting. She fell flat on her face.
We were able to log into the cam and provide that video to the police department and the state's attorney's office.
Cops arrested the assailant, Kerry Gossick, an Uber driver. Justice served in Key West, thanks to an eagle-eyed citizen watching all the way up in Boston.
The suspect pled guilty to sexual battery and just yesterday was sentenced to 10 years in prison.
Alright. Now, for those who don't know what EarthCam is, let me show you. Here's what you do. Open up another tab here real quick. You go on earthcam.com. That's the webcam network. You go to earthcam.com. And once you're on, it will take you to wherever it is live. It has like pictures and all. You can go down to check. You click on each state, like Rhode Island, and you click on Orleans, Louisiana. There you can watch live footage of what's happening. Each of these cameras is linked to EarthCam. When you're looking at it from a perspective here. But for the sake of this 6.5 minute segment, this was all live. So let's turn up the volume. You can turn up the volume here. Probably have some music on. You can turn off the music, and you can see. And what you can't, you can put this in full screen here, and it will take you. You can watch what's happening in New Orleans, Louisiana, at around 2:30 in the morning. Right now it's 61 degrees, and you got the local camera time. You can turn on the views of how many people are watching this. Right now, 104,637,136 views are happening. It's 61 degrees. Then what you can do, if you want to go back to the live footage, you can click on live. Click on the live camera. And then you can go on the Skylines, you can go My Earth Cam, you can just join the community, you guys sign up for it, and you just get a little camera and it will capture. Just go to myearthcam.com. You go to myearthcam.com, you're gonna have live video footage, or myearthcam.net. This was in Lusby to where a chicken cam happened. Sounded around 3:31. Like almost 3 in the morning. But we're probably not going to show it to you because we got the rest of the show to do. So we'll show you more of Earth Cam, and on a future episode, we'll show you some more of Earth Cam. But let's move on here. Are you thinking about filing a police report? What if you were to file a false police report? That's a bad idea. We're going to tell you what can happen if you do. And still ahead, this man records police abuse. Wait till you hear what happens when Dateline decided to test the system in reporting police abuse. Stay with us. Are you thinking about filing a police report? You better be truthful in your police reports, because there is one such thing as filing a false police report. Here in the state of Texas, section of the Texas Penal Code, which is section 37.08 of the Texas Penal Code, that states that if you file a false police report, you can be arrested and charged for filing a false police report, which is a Class B misdemeanor, and it can send you to up to 180 days in jail and a fine of up to $2,000. The right way you would file the right way to file a police report is you'd have to go to the police station and say to them, I'd like to file a report, and you got to give them detail by detail instructions. And mind you, you are being recorded via the body cam footage, via body cam, or on security tape. But this is what you know when you're filing this is what happens when you start filing a report. Let me show you what happens when this is what happened about a year ago. This former officer was on trial and filed a false police report, but the body cam footage you're about to see would tell all sides to every story. He told this officer told the jury about what happened, about that controversial arrest that happened. Let's take a look.
That's when his hand started getting towards my neck area and things of that nature. Just as I do remember, like, that's when his hand started getting towards my neck area and things of that nature. It just escalated even more.
It was an arrest that sparked outrage and major protests. Now, the trial of a former La Mesa police officer at the center of it is underway in East County, and the man he arrested is testifying about what happened. Good evening, and thank you for joining us. I'm Carlo Cicchetto. Matthew Dages was let go from the La Mesa Police Department following the controversial arrest of Amari Johnson back in May of 2020, which led to violent protests in La Mesa. Dages is accused of falsifying a police report related to that arrest. Opening statements in the trial began today. This afternoon, Johnson took the stand. News 8's Shannon Handy has more from the El Cajon courthouse.
That arrest was captured on video and sparked outrage in La Mesa. Now, while many people feel as though Dages should face charges for his actions during that incident, this trial centers around whether or not he lied about why he confronted and later arrested Amari Johnson.
I was just very uncomfortable with the whole situation.
Amari Johnson took the stand Wednesday testifying about the day former La Mesa police officer Matthew Dages arrested him back in May of 2020 outside an apartment complex near the Grossmont trolley station.
He asked me a whole bunch of questions, and a lot of them were the same questions over and over again.
Johnson told jurors Dages questioned him about what he was doing and told him he couldn't smoke in that area. Johnson says he doesn't smoke, telling Dages he was simply waiting for his friends. But when he tried to leave, things escalated.
He was putting his hands around my neck. He was grabbing me, just putting his hands on me.
Several witnesses took cell phone video of the incident, saying Dages appeared to be the aggressor.
When the young man stood up, then the officer put his hands on his shoulders and pushed him back down in a sitting position.
But Dages' actions during the incident aren't on trial. It's what he wrote in a police report after. Dages was reportedly taking part in a fair compliance operation with other officers and claimed he initially contacted Johnson for smoking in public and failing to have a trolley fare while being in a, quote, fair paid zone. Dages' defense attorney said from his vantage point, Johnson was holding what appeared to be a smoking device and was in an area where people cannot loiter without a fare or bus pass. He also argued Johnson was being combative and threatened Dages, something Dages reported as well.
When you take off the progressive lens and you look at the facts of the case, you're going to see that Officer Dages absolutely submitted a 100% truthful and accurate report.
Meanwhile, Deputy District Attorney Judy Tashner says Johnson was across the street from the trolley platform holding a cell phone. No cigarettes were ever found.
No smoke, no cigarette, no vape, nothing.
In cell phone videos, you can hear Johnson yell expletives, but witnesses who took the stand say he never fought back. Johnson was arrested on suspicion of assault of an officer as well as resisting, delaying, and obstructing an officer. He was eventually released and no charges were ever filed, though videos of the arrest sparked riots in La Mesa. The trial continues tomorrow. If found guilty, Dages faces 3 years in prison.
Which would be a good sentence, because we all got to learn a lesson up here. Here's what can happen when you file a false police report from a lawyer's perspective here. Take a look.
Hey everyone, Anthony Ray with Ray Law Criminal Defense. Welcome back. In a recent video, we spoke about how to conduct oneself if you are charged with a crime that you didn't commit. Today, we'll take that one step further. We're going to identify what can happen to the person that initiates those false charges. The start of a criminal accusation is typically made with making a complaint. When a person makes a complaint to law enforcement, it is documented through a police report. The information in the report, along with any additional investigation, is then used as a basis for making an arrest. In many states, the action of making a false accusation falls under the crime of filing a false police report. As we always remind our viewers, each state has its own specific language that defines a given crime. The penalty for filing a false police report may include imprisonment and fines, which can range from a few hundred to thousands of dollars. Whether the crime constitutes a misdemeanor or a felony depends on the circumstances. If you are found guilty of filing a false police report that leads to injury as a result of law enforcement conduct, it will impact your level of punishment. The greater the amount of injury to the accused, the greater the penalty you will face. The same is true for calling 911 or the fire department with false information and other similar actions of reporting crimes that are untrue. It can also lead to additional criminal charges and penalties resulting from the time and resources used by the officials to pursue the false leads. Yes, if you've been falsely accused and suffer physical, emotional, or financial injury as a result of the false report, you may be able to bring a claim against the false accuser in civil court for monetary compensation as a result of the harm that you suffered. Have you or a friend been falsely accused of a crime? If so, let us know in the comments below how it was resolved. To watch our video, What to Do If I'm Falsely Charged with a Crime, click on the link above or visit the Ray Law Criminal Defense channel for that and other awesome content. Thank you for the privilege of your time. We'll see you next time.
Bit little, I'm going to take some common sense back to these two Dateline stories. Coming up next, what would you do if you were to file a complaint about police abuse? Meaning, an officer from the police department where they're working at abused you. Well, an experiment was conducted to find out what would happen if you were to do that. You'll see what happens when this man went into every police station with a hidden camera and decided to make a complaint to police abuse. Also, you will meet this man who records police abuse. Wait till you see what happens when he tells about what happened in these cases. Stay with us. If you were subject to police abuse, would you ever file a complaint against the officer of your city? What if you realized that good cop was actually a bad cop trying to I don't know, abuse you? You're about to meet someone who took that test and went to a bunch of police departments in New York City. Are some cops good guys or bad guys when it comes to filing a complaint? Here's John Hockenberry.
Your nickname was the Mechanic?
Yes, it was.
And why were you given this nickname?
Because I used to tune people up.
What do you mean by tune people up?
That's a police word for beating up people.
To be a victim of a crime is one thing, but what if you were the victim of an abusive police officer? What if you witnessed the cop actually beating someone up? What could you do about it? Ironically, might you have to tell another police officer of your complaint?
Yeah, I know how to file a complaint. Police abuse.
Would you find a courteous, helpful officer?
Well, it depends how you want to go with it.
Or would you get a different reception? Maybe even downright hostility.
I heard you say I was a f***ing ass. I just heard you.
You heard me say that?
Yes.
Then maybe you have a hearing problem. The entire nation probably remembers one hot day last summer in New York City, when one man came forward and told what happened to him in the custody of police officers.
The first thing they said to me, if I yelled or making any noise, they kill me.
You may remember that Abner Louima was allegedly beaten and horribly sodomized with a toilet plunger inside the 70th Precinct house last summer. The case is in court now, but as we'll show you, it revealed a lapse in law enforcement policy that goes far beyond Abner Louima. What you may not know is that Louima's family told us they went to the 70th Precinct with the story of their injured relative to file a complaint just as you or I might. Amazingly, they say they were turned away. Abner Louima's cousin and spokesman, Sam Nicholas.
They told the sergeant that they wanted to file a complaint. And he says, the name of the person, he says, I want to file a complaint about Abner Louima.
And their response?
We ignored them. And another police officer came out, a sergeant, and he says, you can't make a complaint here.
An NYPD official confirmed the Louima family came to the 70th Precinct, but told us he did not have a record of their attempt to file a complaint. You had faith that you could walk into that police station and that someone would listen.
Yes, we did, yeah.
Were you stupid to think that?
We were stupid to think that. We thought that, courtesy, professionalism, and respect, that it, it meant something.
So you believed that sign on the car?
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
Courtesy, professionalism, and respect. It's a slogan that now appears on almost every New York City police car. We wanted to see how well the NYPD was living up to its own standard.
Yeah, I want to know how to file a complaint.
We wanted to do what the Louima family says it tried to do.
About police abuse incident?
File a citizen complaint.
In order to make the complaint, you got to bring it back to the precinct.
So what kind of a reception would an ordinary citizen get from the NYPD?
How do you go about filling out a
Just watch.
complaint on an officer about...
To help us, we contacted the Florida-based Police Complaint Center.
What we have here are all the complaints we received across the country.
Headed by this man, Diop Kamau, a crusader who has pioneered the use of hidden camera video to monitor the police and expose abusive cops. To test the largest police department in the country, Kamau assigned Dateline his chief investigator, Paul Parker.
And my main thing as a tester, I just want to be able to show exactly what they do, one way or another. I portray myself as a victim, going in there, just basically asking questions in general, like the mass population. can I just fill something out? I mean, I have to go.
You don't fill the form out. We fill the form out.
Dateline designed the test. The hidden cameras were ours. Paul, experienced with police departments all over the nation, was our guy.
Form out, and then it gets handed in.
We were in constant radio contact with him to monitor the testing and to make sure our ground rules were followed.
Going to precinct 41. Precinct 41.
Our instructions to our tester Paul were for him to play a victim or a witness of police abuse. We didn't want to file a false complaint or be provocative in any way. All we wanted was information. As you'll see, Paul is uncomfortable giving his name or discussing actual details with a police officer, as people who report police abuse typically are, especially inside a station house. We visited 15 precinct houses late at night in all 5 New York boroughs over a 4-day period last October.
I just want to know, how do you go about...
When our cameras went to the 41st precinct, we saw how, according to official New York police policy, a complaint is supposed to be received.
Go to the board, okay?
This officer, as he's supposed to, immediately refers Paul to the highest ranking officer in the station, here a lieutenant.
A couple of different ways you do it. Okay. Number one,
He outlines the options available.
you can do it here right now. You fill out the paperwork, I make the phone call to CCLB.
According to department policy, a person can file a complaint right in the station house. They can call the 800 number of the Civilian Complaint Review Board, the CRB, or simply take a complaint form home and mail it back.
Talk to them direct, or you can come back in if you want to give it to us.
There's no pressure here, just friendly cooperation.
You got a nickname or anything?
That's all right.
Paul's unease at giving details or his name causes no problems. He leaves with the form and all the correct information. Through the video camera's eyes, a by-the-book performance.
That was, I would say, an excellent way of more or less showing how it should be done.
Is there any reason why it shouldn't be like that every time?
No, no reason at all. I want to know how you go about filing a complaint on a cop.
What about?
About abuse.
But that by-the-book response is not what we received from many of the precincts we visited.
You got, is there somebody to fill out?
You got to tell me about it first. Here at the 47th, these officers, the one on the right, a sergeant, try to get information and won't give out the form.
You got some document or something?
That's all I hear from you.
You gotta tell us what happened.
You got like a form, something I can take? A form? You got forms? I told you, Sergeant, it's about abuse.
I need to know who it was, whether they work here or not, what the abuse was. Paul continued to press, and the officers continued to resist.
Now, I'm saying that I want to be able to fill something out that says that, you know, more or less, this is my situation and what went down. You know
what that situation is. They never even mentioned the 800 number. Finally, they just give Paul this suggestion.
What you can do.
You can think about it, come back. I think that's a good idea. Think about it, come back. I think that's your best course of action. Amen?
And that's it.
That's it. Take it easy.
The officer didn't look up. He didn't give him that much respect just to look me in the eye.
Maybe he's busy.
But I'm coming in with a complaint.
Maybe he had a bad day.
I'm part of his work, because they had a bad day. Does that make it okay? It definitely make it all right.
We showed a representative sample of our tapes to the top man in the NYPD, Commissioner Howard Safer, who told us it's a challenge to get a message from the top to filter down to every precinct.
I mean, this just plays exactly into the expectation that there's no interest on the part of the police in dealing with this.
In that particular case, there was no interest, inappropriate. That sergeant needs to be retrained or disciplined, and certainly that's not what I expect of my police officers.
I think that's a good idea. Think about it, come back.
The desk sergeant's job is to respond to people who walk up and have a question, whether it's you want to file a complaint about a report or about a crime or whatever.
Professor Sam Walker from the University of Nebraska has studied police departments across the country, including New York's. He wrote a report critical of New York City's complaint procedures.
But what if I'm not comfortable about
He says gruff demeanor is often part of a systematic pattern by officers to minimize citizen complaints.
They're going to try to screen out these complaints and discourage them. Go back, think about it, because they're pretty sure the person won't come back. You wouldn't go back after getting that perception.
I need a form to fill out on a cop about police abuse.
It's certainly hard to imagine the citizen who would persevere with a complaint like Paul did here at the 40th precinct.
Officer, Mac, how you say your name?
I'm asking you where this happened.
I don't even want to get off into that.
What?
I don't want to get off into that.
Can I ask you your name?
I just want to get off into that, to that sergeant.
Get out.
I gotta get out?
Yeah. You want to come in and tell me about this? I don't want to take it. I know. Walk right over there. I can't take it. What's that? So you're wasting my time.
Remember, according to department policy, the sergeant should tell Paul about the 800 number and should give him a form, particularly if he asks for it.
Let me ask you this, Sergeant. Do you have a form somebody can just take and go?
I ask you where it happened. I gotta know what's happening.
How does it feel to be told to get out of my station?
Number one, it's not his station. It's a taxpayer station. And we employ them. That's our money that is going to the salary. And like I say, it hurts.
It hurts in part, Paul says, because at the heart of this encounter with a police officer, like so many others he's investigated, is the issue of race.
No, I understand. I just don't want to get off into it. We saw a young black male who didn't have any rights, that I probably did something wrong.
He's a criminal. Is that what you're saying?
A suspect in a crime.
Not a citizen.
Not a citizen.
The NYPD told us racism is not acceptable and everyone is supposed to be treated with professionalism. But Paul says the best evidence that he was simply being harassed was what happened a few moments later. The form was sitting right there in front of the sergeant the whole time.
Totally inappropriate, and that's somebody who needs retraining, discipline, and depending on his record, maybe he doesn't deserve to be dealing with the public.
I can't understand that 2 months, 3 months after Louima, how can this guy be telling somebody to get out of the station who's trying to file a complaint?
Do I endorse that? Do I in any way think that's proper behavior? Absolutely not. But is it possible that 2 months after Louima, or 20 months after Louima, that you're going to have somebody who acts inappropriately in a large organization? The answer is yes. Are we going to take action and fix it when it happens? Absolutely.
8 out of the 15 followed procedure and behaved properly. In 7 precincts we tested, there was either incorrect information, incorrect procedures or rudeness, or all 3.
But in every one of those situations, nobody said, we're not taking your complaint and you have no redress.
Professor Walker's assessment was tougher. Based on our results, the NYPD, he says, flunked.
8 out of 15 is not a passing grade. Not a passing grade in my course or any other course that I know of.
In our interview, Commissioner Safer told us the NYPD had conducted 7,000 of its own tests, and that 95% of its officers had passed. But a police department spokesperson told us their testing did not involve actually asking how to file a complaint against another police officer. Commissioner Safer also told us that he had reissued the guidelines for filing those kinds of complaints. And so if we decided to test again, he hoped we get different results.
So we took the commissioner up on his challenge. In April, 3 months after Safer says he reissued his guidelines, we went back out and tested 17 more precincts all over the city. This time we used Diop Kamau, Paul's boss, as the tester. We used the same rules, simply asking for information about how to file a complaint.
What do you want to file a complaint about?
A cop beating somebody down.
Kamau encountered this officer at the 52nd precinct.
Well, basically, man, you might work with the guy, so I basically know what my rights are, what I have to do.
What your rights are?
Yeah, if I want to report a cop who beat somebody down.
Well, if you want to tell me the particulars, how can I help you?
I ain't a cop, man, so I don't know the procedure. I need to know what my rights are. You tell me what happened.
After repeated requests, this officer, against policy, wouldn't give out the form, didn't mention the 800 number.
What if I just don't want to get into the facts, man? I just want to deal with what my rights are. How about that?
After almost 10 minutes, he just took the next person in line.
Yes, ma'am.
You have to tell me.
We did find some improvement during these tests. We noticed there were more high-ranking officers, and in general, the demeanor was more cordial.
That's the phone number that he can contact me.
Okay.
And I'll give you the number to CCSD.
Follow that another day.
This lieutenant at the 71st Precinct tried his best to follow procedure.
I'm gonna give you the phone. And phone number, you can call them, whatever, precinct, whatever. Okay, I appreciate that.
But while the lieutenant was off getting the form, our tester had this confrontation with the officer on the desk.
I'm sorry, you called me what? Excuse me? I heard you say I was a fucking ass. I just heard you.
You heard me say that?
Yes.
Then maybe you have a hearing problem.
We got almost the same results as our first test. 9 out of the 17 precincts followed procedure.
Yeah, but you're gonna write a report up and I'm gonna read it.
But almost half of the precincts, 8 out of 17, didn't follow police department procedure or gave our tester a frosty reception.
You just called me a fucking ass just now.
You called you?
Yes.
That's what he's talking.
I didn't hear that. If you walked into a retail store and you got that kind of response, you never shop there again. And you would tell all your friends not to shop there. Problem is, whatever city, you only have one police department. You have no alternative.
A New York Police Department official said if they made mistakes, they want to learn from them, and told us they would further address problems in handling complaints. The Louima family will never forget the reception they say they got from the NYPD when they tried to file a complaint. Professor Walker says that despite Commissioner Safer's efforts, the attitude of the NYPD may be hard to change.
There's still something very deep in the culture of that department that is resistant to accountability.
Logan.
And accountability is what they need. Come up next, you will see that police abuse happened during a traffic stop. John Hockenberry continues with police abuse. Stay with us. Now that we've seen how to file a complaint against abusive police officers, we're going to show you some videotapes all about abusive cops. You're going to see that, you're going to hear that same man who created his own website about police abuse, who spoke out and told what had happened. You will also see the horrific body cam police footage of a police officer during a traffic stop abuse one man. Will we ever know what happened? Here's John Hockenberry.
And you said you were going to what? Throw my ass in jail? Was that what you said to me? If he does that, then what?
Diab Kamau is a man on a personal crusade.
Now, what's your name, officer?
Some might say too personal.
And why'd you pull me over?
The mission is to bring the police and individual police officers back in concert with the law. Because I honestly believe that they're writing their own law. They're writing their own rules. Okay, I got you.
He puts his body and his camera lens out there.
Okay, he's in, and I don't hear anything just yet.
Bad cops, beware. Kamau wants you to know he's watching you.
What do you say to the person that says, leave the cops alone?
If I could leave it for the police to take care of the problem of police brutality, I wouldn't be on the streets. But the police have done a dismal job in correcting misconduct.
Kamau's controversial methods have brought out into the open some moments that police probably would rather no one saw. Like what happened in 1989 on this street in Long Beach, California. Kamau's work on this night became a national story. The car is stopped, officers later said, for allegedly weaving.
We never changed lanes, we never touched the margin lines. We're driving straight as an arrow.
Kamau was in the passenger seat. And when he got out of the car to talk to the cop, hidden cameras were rolling.
Nah, man, what's the deal?
This is the view from street level.
Hey, come over here. For what? Because I'm intelligent, you, that's why.
A simple traffic stop suddenly escalates into screaming and violence.
Put your hands on your head now. Why? Do it now because I'm telling you to.
We started escalating the events to a much higher level than they needed to be.
Hands on your head, turn around.
I don't have a weapon.
Now what's happening
I
here?
now complied, and now he slams me into the window.
And after they put the handcuffs on,
when he took me over to the hood of the car and bashed my head into the hood of the car.
Just minutes after being stopped, Kamau is taken into custody. Charged with resisting arrest and assaulting a police officer.
Turn around and put your hands on your head now.
Official report of the incident, police described Kamau as being in a fighting stance and cursing.
Hands on your head, turn around.
It was Kamau, they said, who broke the window. His forward lunge as the officer was trying to restrain him. The slam into the hood of the car, just part of a pat-down search, the report says. These pictures seem to tell a different story of the incident, but they also show why Kamau brings controversy onto himself wherever he goes.
You want to write a ticket, don't mess with me, man.
Here, for instance, a lot of reasonable people might say Diop Kamau himself escalated the situation.
You pat me down, but don't mess, turn around.
By getting out of the car in the first place, and for being belligerent.
What are you going to do? Put your hands on
If you want to prevent an incident like that from being escalated, I mean, isn't it better to just do what the officer says when you get out of the car?
Yeah, but I'm testing a real situation with real circumstances that an officer is likely to encounter.
The Long Beach Police Department refused to speak to Dateline. The charges against Kamau were eventually dropped, and he got a large civil settlement. Because of the incident, the California State Assembly stiffened penalties for police who file a false report, and the officers were forced to retire.
You say I'm an angry man. Well, you know, I think sometimes it's right to be angry, but I'm doing something with my anger. I'm trying to channel it in a way that will change minds and change the system.
Diop Kamau, you see, used to be part of the system, a policeman himself, who back then went by the name of Don Jackson. And he learned everything he knows about law enforcement from a 29-year veteran of the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department, his father, Woodrow Jackson.
I mean, I can remember even when I was 5, 6 years old, being in the back of a sheriff's car riding around with my father.
Kamau's father was a street cop during the tense early years of the civil rights movement.
He joined the sheriff's department in the 50s. There was no affirmative action. There was no protection. So if you took abuse on a racial level or whatever, you just had to take it.
But his dad remained a believer in the system, in American justice, and he passed that value on to his son. Kamau rose to the rank of sergeant. He worked undercover and was on a fast track for further promotions. Then an event his father told him about forced him to reevaluate his whole life.
1987, my father was stopped by police officers. He's driving with my younger sister and 4 kids in the car, and they get pulled over at gunpoint. 67 years old. He tells them he's a police officer. They lifted him up in the air and body slammed him and basically stomped him until his police ID fell out of his back pocket. And when they finished, they never even apologized. They told him he should understand. He's a cop, you know, brush it off and go on your way.
But for Kamau, there was no brushing off this incident. He stopped being a believer and became instead a vocal, some would say strident critic of the police. He quit the force and with his camera vowed to reveal the abuse that he says has always been hidden. And at first, Kamau's father was critical of his son's open defiance. He had always burned quietly inside from the effects of racism.
He told me that I was thin-skinned, that I probably couldn't take it the way he took it.
Is he right?
Yes, he's right. He's right. And I told him, yeah, you're right, but I have a right not to want to put up with racism. I have a right to do something about it.
With his computer, he's turned the internet into a national clearinghouse for ordinary citizens' complaints against police. With his cameras, he's compiled a digital video archive where skeptics can see his reality for themselves.
This is my name.
Kamau says he is not afraid to commend the good cops, like this courteous lieutenant he ran into in New York City.
Okay.
This is what you feel idea.
So you're not disappointed if you find good cops?
No. In fact, I post good cops on my webpage. If I could find more doing their job the way it's supposed to be done, I'd put more on the page. One of the biggest problems with human rights issues is data.
He earned his master's degree and occasionally lectures at Florida State University. Kamau says his work is a tribute to the one good cop who taught him so much.
Do you ever wish you could take all of your success and hand it to him in some fantasy moment?
Well, I try to. And in fact, I dedicated my website and the work I'm doing to his memory.
Diop Kamau's father died in 1993. His cherished memory is undoubtedly the source of Kamau's passion. But could it also be something of a blind spot? Could this very personal stake in fighting police abuse compromise his objectivity?
Put that down, bitch. The camera? You don't have your weapons on you, do you?
I have no weapons.
I wonder why you're approaching me, sir.
I'm not approaching you. I'm backing up. I'm not touching you. I'm going to stand on a lighted street. I'm going to come over. I'm standing right here.
Last year, to test citizens' complaints that cops routinely targeted blacks for illegal stops, Kamau is on the beat in Beverly Hills, California. Am I under arrest?
No, sir.
Am I being detained?
I'm gonna stop. I'm gonna write you a couple violations I see on your truck, okay?
After initially saying he would issue some traffic tickets, this officer lets Kamau go. In a separate incident, just like in Long Beach, the Beverly Hills police pulled Kamau's partner and chief investigator Paul Parker over because they say he is weaving in traffic.
Basically, they're lying.
Officers order Paul out of the car and begin searching him. Kamau moves in with his camera.
Are you the man?
That's really none of your business, and I don't have to answer that question.
I'll tell you what. Oh, wait a minute. I'll turn the light out. You don't you dare be telling this man what to do. You'll be interfering with us, and I will take you to jail. All right? Do what you have to do.
Now, he grabbed my camera, which is my property. That's one thing.
I'm stepping back out of your way, and I'm not answering any questions.
Okay.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll turn the light out, and what I'll do is I'll step into some... Oh, you're hitting me now?
No.
You just put your arm on me.
The second point is he stepped to one side and he pushed me. Once an officer feels entitled to push, he could get his baton out, he could use a taser on me, he could spray me with mace.
This looks, to me, like here are these cops who've pulled over somebody, and there's this loudmouth jerk with a camera who's trying his best to piss him off. Am I wrong?
I think you're a little wrong.
I'm gonna get away from you and step into some light, and don't put your hands on me.
Don't tell me what to do. I'm asking.
It's all on camera. Keep talking.
I question, I take issue, and I do challenge when I feel that my rights are being abridged. When I'm standing on the sidewalk with the camera, I'm not going to be intimidated, and I'm not going to leave.
Beverly Hills PD says it investigated this encounter. They say the stop was legitimate, that the officers did nothing wrong. Remember, the police initially stopped Kamau's partner for allegedly weaving, but in the end, they issued him a ticket for no front license plate.
I'll tell you what. Oh.
They say, well, he shouldn't be out there agitating our officers. He's provoking us. He's doing this. He's setting us up. An officer who really is in control of himself will not be provoked or allow himself to be set up because he'll just be doing his job.
If I fill out a complaint...
But last year, the question of who's setting up whom came to a head in the very same station where Diop Kamau's father used to work.
But for you to say, I don't talk to you, you're just going to arrest me or find something to arrest me on, that's something against me.
At the Marina Del Rey station of the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department,
I feel uncomfortable at a particular time talking to another officer.
Look what happens when Paul Parker, who's wearing a hidden camera, wants to know how to file a complaint.
If you don't tell me what's up, I'm not giving you nothing. Tell me what the problem is, I'm the one that takes the complaint. You want to tell me what happened, I'll be more than happy to listen to you. If not, call the 800 number you see right there in front of the table. If not, I'll sue you. Those are your three options.
But those aren't really the options. The sergeant should know that LA County requires its deputies to give out a complaint form that can be mailed in.
If you're telling me that, you know, you find something to arrest me on, I mean, that's the problem.
First, this deputy is refusing to give up the form.
You go get your form.
Then it gets ugly.
He went out the back of the police station, came around the front entranceway.
Parker describes what the officer is doing to him.
And came right up behind him, threw me up against the counter.
Parker says at this point, the deputy forces him to spread his legs and to put his hands on the counter.
What's the last thing we were arrested for? He's frisking me. He's taking stuff out of me, taking my jacket off, everything I have on.
What is your name? I asked you a question. What is your name?
My name is Paul Wesley Parker III.
Now, how hard is that, Mr. Parker? Wesley Westford is?
Then the officer delivers this chilling threat.
You're not supposed to come off that counter for any reason on this earth. You understand me? I got you. Okay. They come off that counter for any other reason than I tell you to take them off that counter. You gotta pay a visit downtown at the hospital ward. You understand me? I got you all.
At this point, Diop Kamau, who has been stationed outside monitoring everything, comes to Paul's aid. Kamau also brings his video camera. The deputy now knows he's being filmed.
So, officer, you said that if I did not keep my hands up on the table, and since I wasn't being detained, that I was gonna pay a visit down to the hospital.
No, I did not.
Officer, that's exactly what you said.
But of course, we heard the tape, and that is exactly
what he said. But you know, this is the credibility gap where African Americans fall into the breach. When you come into a police agency and tell them that this officer did this to you, no one will believe you.
If you're telling me that, you know, you find something to arrest me on.
There's no other way to document this than to go in with hidden cameras.
A department spokeswoman told Dateline that because of this tape, the deputy was retrained, reassigned, and disciplined. Citing privacy laws, she would not say what that discipline was. Through the department, the deputy refused to speak to us.
I'm going to write you a couple violations I see on your truck.
These incidents are all now part of Diop Kamau's internet archive. Living proof, he says, that he's making a difference. And the dad he looked up to, who once called him thin-skinned, eventually signed on to his son's video crusade before he died.
But are you getting information by doing this, or are you trying to deliver a body slam to the officers to beat up your daddy?
Well, if I spent my whole career, I could never pay back anybody for doing that because it was so humiliating and so painful. But what I can do is put them on track, a track they haven't been on for a while, which is in compliance with the law.
Oh, there's still more sand on here.
But beyond settling a score, what drives Diop Kamau is his passion to change the world, to make it safe for his family. And there's something else.
Is there a bit of cowboy in what you do?
I don't like being pushed around. I don't like my family being pushed around. So I'm not going to go away for a long time. And the cops who think that this is a passing fancy, I mean, they'll just keep getting popped.
One of the problems in fighting police abuse has been the lack of reliable national statistics. In 1994, Congress tried to fix the problem by requiring the Justice Department to collect and publish statistics on the use of excessive force by police. But after nearly 4 years, Congressman John Conyers, the ranking Democrat on the House Judiciary Committee, complained in a letter to Janet Reno that little has been done. The Justice Department told Dateline it's looking into the congressman's complaint.
So there's your common sense for you. When you're filing a when you're going to file a police report or complaint, you got to make sure you have evidence. And if you feel like they're abusing you, right at the station, then contact their supervisor. And they will take care of the rest. Which is basically a tip for y'all. We're gonna have more. We're gonna have more, including from Citrus Spawn. Stay with us. Can you ever imagine emergency medicine that you rely on is being shut down because of what happened? You're about to meet someone who created a petition for Citrus Spawn, who says it really should work, but if it doesn't, it really should happen, but if it doesn't happen, something may happen. This person created a petition, you'll hear some people, and you'll hear what Citrus Spawn has to say. Here's Lexus Green.
Thank you, Leslie. And Thursday's announcement that the trial was started in hopes that the hospital reverses their decision. Just over the weekend, it has reached over 2,000 signatures. In a statement from Citrus Spawn today, they reassured that current residents enrolled in the program would not be impacted, and that's why the program's date of closure is set for June of 2026. But for many who are highly invested in the program's history and success, so that's not enough.
Their actions are saying that this program is not of value to the city, that it's not important, when it so clearly has been.
That was a spouse of one of the teaching physicians of that program. Her and other advocates plan on speaking out at tomorrow's city council meeting in hopes of reversing this decision. We will hear more from people who are speaking up and getting involved in hopes of saving the program on 3 News at 6. Leslie, Mike.
All right, Lexus, thank you so much for that.
And we'll know what happened, so we'll let you know what happened. So we'll let you know. How about some great news? One school is having students being tested as guinea pigs for school lunches. Students got a chance to pick what was on the menu because of their taste buds. Let's take a look.
Who is letting their students choose one school who is letting their students choose the menu. Students at Windsor Park Elementary got to be professional guinea pigs and taste some new foods that could be a part of the menu for the entire district. The principal and cafeteria manager of Windsor Park both agree that it's important to get students' opinions on the food because they want them to like what they're eating.
you know, it makes me know that my kids are doing the taste test over here, and their opinions is what's putting something new on the menu, and we want them to love what you know what's being served, and we want the parents to stop making breakfasts and making lunches at home, and send your kids over here and let them come to the cafeteria and experience the new foods that we have.
Oh, I just love that. That is awesome. The principal at the school says this is their 5th year taste testing for the district, and that it's an incredible honor.
I want that job. Well,
I do want that job as well, being guinea pigs for school lunches. If your school does not have that need to contact your local school board and show them this story, and then publish it and say, we need this. And if they don't believe you, show them the story. What a great way to end up on. Next, viral break. And believe me, it's even way better than these school lunches. We'll be right back. Well, over 10 years ago, if you ever watched an old Dateline series called To Catch a Predator. To Catch a Predator is an old Dateline show to where they would walk in on a sting. It's a sting operation where older men would come into a teenager's house online to have sex. Well, there's been some parodies about this, and one of those parodies was from 15 years ago. That's right, this was 15 years ago. There was a parody about this. This one's gotten 10,000 views. It was called To Catch a Mascot, and it was from a channel called New Golden Boys. The description of this says, a parody of NBC's Dateline To Catch a Predator features Super Mario. This is a 2-minute skit, and it is funny towards the end, and just take a look.
Hey, it's me, Mario!
Give me 1 second, I gotta finish the laundry.
Ah, okie dokie. Oh, whew, it's a nice place, huh? Ah, so a little drink. Can I help you with something? Oh, Mamma Mia! Mamma Mia? I'm Chris Hansen's brother, Ted Hansen. Why don't you have a seat? What do we got going on here? Nothing. What are we doing here today? Oh, nothing? I'm just at a plumber. And I'm Chris Hansen, brother, Ted Hansen. Got a little bag here, huh? That's enough. You got a bag here? That's in my supplies. Is it? That's nothing. Learn about chemistry. I don't know what's in there. What else we got here? Oh boy. You having a little party, Mario? I'm just fixing the pipes. You fixing the pipes with this? There's a raccoon suit. I like the raccoon. What is going on here? Nothing. Nothing? Let me show you nothing. We have here a copy of the chat transcript of you and our equal. You wrote, it's a me Mario, a Yahoo. You will ever see a we. The decoy says, no, but I heard they're cool. You write, where's your mama? I think she'd really love it. Why don't you invite your grandma too? Your grandma? What are you into? Hey, I'm Chris Hansen's brother, Ted Hansen. Well, here we go. What? I'm Chris Hansen's brother, Ted Hansen.
Boom. A little Benny Hill music. A little Mario on it. I can see why there was parodies of this. This is very first for it. I mean, look at the comment section. This is like, I too think the naked scene was very genius, which we didn't show. The snake segment at the end was genius. I wonder why this didn't get a lot of views. It had a lot more on game shows though. Everyone thought it was freaking funny. I thought so too. This one only got like 10,000 views in the past 15 years. So 15 years this has been on. I mean, 15 years ago, this was like, this 2008. 2008. That was 15 years. I mean, To Catch a Predator was started with Dangerous Web back in 2004. Then 2005 on, it would change to Catch a Predator. Of course, I'm always telling you kids to stay, always telling your parents to stay away from predators, like I talked about. If you've been watching the broadcast, we focused in on protecting your kids from predators. We'll talk about that on a Throwback Thursday this week. And coming up on Wednesday, Secrets and Lies. You're about to meet someone who had a secret but probably told a lie. She shares her story to Josh Mankiewicz. That's on Wednesday. That's all for this edition of Give Me a Break Monday going to Tuesday. We'll see you again for Give Me a Break Wednesday. For all of us here at YouTube, and Give Me a Break. Stop blowing, speak out. Concentration, not strain. No jaywalking. Have a good night.